said one of my favorite words, accountability, right? That's like a huge problem across all systems, all protocols, all levels of government. Outside of campaign finance, for various and assorted different types of policies, what does accountability look like for everyone up there?
That's a great question. I think it starts with, I think it happens on multiple levels, but part of what I was talking about before about having a dialogue and communicating with our community is that that doesn't only happen on the campaign trail, right? That happens after. It happens by continually having those conversations with the people in our community. On the flip side, you heard overwhelmingly from us that none of us had plans to go into politics, right? Like, this was not my idea of like what my life in 2012.
Extra responsibility is gross.
Yeah. But that being
necessary sometimes.
But necessary.
But that being said, the reason why we're doing that is for the people, but also we're being held accountable to the people. And by putting ourselves out there in a very transparent way, knowing that the people have had conversations with us, but then have also funded our campaigns, we are being held accountable to them. So most of the people that are donating to our campaigns is $10 a month. Like they believe in the crazy idea that they could be represented in the state house. So by not having some long-term political plan to be a career politician, I'm getting into this communicating. I want that accountability. So fostering those communications well after I'm already in office. And then what I had spoke about before about that ambiance and that persona that's presented by the State House is an impenetrable force, right? It's not porous, you're not invited there, you're not invited into that space. Plan on messing that up a little bit. I'm trying to watch my language. So plan on kind of like messing that up a little bit. So by inviting the very people that need to be represented into those spaces to testify, to talk, and to create an overwhelming presence that this is their house. And that's how we create the accountability. So what I want to do, accountability for me is not a problem. What I want is for them to feel the accountability. I want to show up with all the people in my community who know what justice looks like, who knows what corruption looks like because they've watched it long enough, and to show up because we knocked the doors wide open. That's what I want accountability to look like. So.
I think it also looks like knowing that there is a wealth gap that exists and we are fundamentally leaving people out of the system because it is broken, and if we don't address what it means at the root cause to have a problem, then we're never solving the problem. By saying that we have an issue with schools being underfunded, roads not working, there's no clean drinking water, we have to know that the root cause is because people are not paying their fair share. And if we are accountable to that fact and to the fact that there is a root cause behind every system of inequity and every source of oppression, then we can fundamentally reshape how we think about policy and how the system works. We can't operate under the same assumption that there's a problem, we must fix it. It's like there's a source of that problem, and we're going to go to the source and not just to the problem each time.
So under the heading of accountability, as you talk about funding of schools and different cities, if I might throw in there and a need for accountability for schools and districts, for districts to say how they're spending their money. I don't think there's enough people overlooking the districts. I work in a particularly poor district, and a lot of the money doesn't seem to trickle down to the students. Things trickle into consultants. I think we paid $8,000 or $4,000 for someone to come in and talk to us. That was meaningless. So we need an accountability for that too, and trusting it to one person, a commissioner, is not acceptable. It needs to be at the state level, in addition to funding formulas and funding stuff, accountability as well. How is this money being spent?
Yeah, I think that also goes back to the root cause of why are there 36 different school districts in Providence, and why do we have 36 governing bodies for a state that's smaller than some counties in some other states? Why do we have so many different governing bodies splitting all of the resources 36 different ways when we could have significantly fewer, making sure the resources are allocated to where they need to go, because there are counties that are bigger than Rhode Island that are doing better for their students each and every time across all metrics for every single population. And that's the system that's broken. And that's the root cause to why our schools are failing, because we have 36 different people, 36 cooks in the kitchen determining how we spend certain pools of money.
Mm-hmm.
Without a uniform.
Yeah, without a uniform curriculum.
That's standards.